Math 7, section 2.2, subtracting integers. First we're going to start by subtract integers by adding their opposites. We're going to add the opposites. The example here says Michael, let's pretend this is Mr. Michael, he scored 3 points in a game show for the first round, and he lost 5 points in the second round. Poor Mr. Michael. Okay. Looks like he didn't do too good in this game show. Now, let's figure out exactly how many points he got, though. So let's translate this verbal expression to the numerical expression. 3 minus 5. So instead of subtracting 5 from 3, you can add its opposite, because 3 is bigger than 5, so it's a little confusing. So instead, we could add its opposite, 3 plus, what is the opposite of 5? It is negative 5. So we could just add the opposite, and we just learned how to do that in the last lesson. And so we know that that is negative 2, because on our number line, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's start with 3. We're going to go back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it becomes negative 2. Okay, we learned that last time. So all you have to do if you're subtracting a number is you add its opposite, and that equals negative 2. So you could write this and this as the same thing. Or you can do it on the number line. Next, let's say we want to subtract a negative number. So let's say in the first round, he got negative 3 points. And he got negative 5 points in the second round. First round was a lot better if you look at this one. So we will do negative 3 minus 5. Instead of doing it like this, negative 3 minus 5. We'd still do the same thing. We would do negative 3 plus its opposite, negative 5, which equals negative 8. But let's say we want to find, this is the subtraction, right? Well, let's say you want to subtract a negative. So a different problem. We want to subtract a negative. So we want to do 3 minus negative 5 equals 3 plus 5, because instead of subtracting, we're adding, and the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. So it becomes this, and the answer becomes 8. And that's positive. So when I see this, 3 minus a negative 5, I just turn that negative into a positive. When there's 2, you can turn that into the positive, and then it becomes 8. That's when there's 2 negatives. When there's only 1, when you are just subtracting, it's just positive, or plus, and then the negative. Okay, so let's show this one on the number line. So we have the 3, and then we're going to do minus a negative. So how you do minus a negative, because negative numbers normally go left, and subtracting normally goes left, they basically cancel, and you'll go this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is on the 8 line, if this were to continue. Okay? So remember, this is our key thing to remember. When you subtract a positive integer, you add the opposite. So a minus b equals a plus negative b. Second thing to remember is when you subtract a negative integer, you also add the opposite, which looks like this. A minus negative b equals a plus b, because you're adding the opposite. So remember this. To subtract them on a horizontal number line, you move left for a positive integer and right for negative integer. Remember, adding was the opposite, but since we are subtracting, is the opposite. So you go left if it's positive number. To subtract positive, you're going left. To subtract negative, you're going right. And so that's what it would look like on a number line. Now, example 6a says 10 minus 25. So 10 minus 25 equals 10 plus the opposite of 25, which is negative 25. And to do this, got that, Nat? To do this, we could either write on the number line or we could use the absolute values. So let's try using the absolute values. 10 absolute value equals 10. Absolute value of negative 25 equals 25. Now, because the signs are different, we're going to subtract. So it becomes 25 minus 10. 25 minus 10 equals 15. We use the sign of the bigger number, which is negative, so it becomes negative 15 as our answer here. B. A diver, who I love diving, went 24 feet deep below the surface of the ocean, and then went 47 feet further. What is the diver's new position relative to the surface? So originally he went negative 24 feet. Then we're going to subtract another, well, we're going to add it, but it's going to be a negative number, so it's going to be negative 47 feet. So he went both of these. We want to find out what they are total. So you could write it like this, or you could write it as negative 24 minus 47, or you could write it as negative 24 plus negative 47. So if we do it this way, let's find the absolute values. Absolute value of negative 24 equals 24. Absolute value of negative 47 equals 47. Signs are the same, so we add, and it becomes, what is it? 71. Right. 71 feet is how far under. Remember, the sign is negative because both of these are negative, so it goes down 71 feet. Go ahead and try guided practice 1, 2, and 3. Example 7 states, to evaluate each expression, so A, 32 minus negative 8. Well, if it's minus a negative, that's going to be 32 plus its opposite, which is 8. 32 plus 8 equals 40. B, negative 15 minus negative 21. This is minus a negative. It is negative 15 plus 21. So let's use those absolute values again. So we see negative 15, absolute value is 15. 21, absolute value is 21. Signs are different, so we subtract 21 minus 15, which becomes, I think they're doing construction on the other room, if you can hear that. It becomes 6. We take the sign of the bigger number. Sign of the bigger number was positive, so the answer is positive, and we have 6. See? Negative 11 minus negative 5 minus negative 20. So let's work on adding some inverses. Negative 11 plus 5 plus 20, because you add the opposites of those two. And so your answer becomes negative 6 plus 20, which becomes 14. You could also rearrange this as 20 minus 6, which also equals 14. So you just switch those, okay? Now, try guided practice 4, 5, and 6. Next, let us find the distance between two integers on a number line. Now to find the distance between two integers, first plot the two integers on the number line and then count the units between them. Here's the number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we want to find the distance between 3 and 7. So let's plot them. 3 and 7. The distance is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So the difference equals 4. We could also say the absolute value of whatever the difference is. So we could say like 3 minus 7, absolute value of that equals 4, because 3 minus 7 is negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 equals 4. Or you could say 7 minus 3 equals absolute value of 4 equals 4. So either way, you get to the answer of the difference of 4. So for any two integers, a and b, this is the thing to remember. For any two integers, a and b, there's absolute value of their difference, a minus b. It does not matter which is a and which is b, but this is the difference right here. Example 8. A. Find the distance between 2 and negative 6. So first we put on the number line, negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 units. Notice I didn't write every line, I just counted by 2's, which you can do. You could also do it in method 2, where you say 2 minus negative 6. Absolute value of that is 2 plus 6, which equals absolute value of 8, which equals 8. Or you could say negative 6 plus 2, negative 6 minus 2. Negative 6 minus 2 equals negative 8. Absolute value of negative 8 is 8. So 8 is our answer in both cases. B. B. Determine the difference in elevation between Death Valley, California, 282 feet below sea level, and the summit, so it's below, and the summit of California is Mount Davidson, 928 feet above sea level. So this one is positive. Now let's find the difference in the two elevations. So we could say 928 minus negative 282 equals 928 plus 282 equals 1,210. This one will be a little bit more difficult to do on the number line. So we did it here. This many feet above, that is the difference. Okay? Difference there. So go ahead and try guided practice 7, 8, and we'll see you in class.